Are you aware that the destruction of humanity is in progress? Do you know you must escape it without fail? The great spiritual physical battle of our day has reached unimaginable levels, with many fronts attacking every living human being, perhaps including those that have passed on, yet no one is yelling or shouting. Subscribe to our channel, share, comment, and let us move and walk together. As we look at this topic, very critical topic, we want to consider it under a number of subtitles. Who is behind the drive so that you may become a person that knows not to become a victim of technological dependency? Understand consumerism and materialism. Understand why there is a sudden drive for instant gratification, to be able to handle information overload, to be able to identify how you may lose your identity, know the ethical dilemmas that are being faced in science and technology, discover the dangers of cultural homogenization, the environmental crisis, the impact and effect of social media, and how it affects our mental health, and the last, existential anxiety, impending nuclear annihilation. Let's understand that technological dependency brings in the temptation to rely excessively on technology for communication, for information, and even for personal identity, as well as transportation, food, and many other areas that have become needs in life. And this raises the questions about who is actually behind all this sudden technological speed and momentum. What is its impact on human autonomy and social interaction? Consumerism and materialism is the allure of consumer culture and material wealth, leading to concerns about environmental sustainability, inequality, and the commodification of human relationships. This has driven the spirit of hedonism, where a person believes that the pursuit of pleasure is the most important thing in life. Pleasure seeking is what has driven us to the point of becoming too much involved and engrossed in consumerism and materialism. Who is influencing this drive? Who is the actual force behind the corporations and businesses, behind the media and advertising, behind economic systems, behind the government policies that drive hedonism? Who is the actual architect behind the cultural influences and technological advancement, globalization and social influences and psychological factors impacting every human being today to become a consumer and a materialist? Once you discover that, then you realize that instant gratification is no longer a temptation, but it is actually becoming a need, where immediate pleasure and gratification facilitated by technology, consumerism, food, pleasure seeking has overshadowed human long-term goals and meaningful pursuits. Material burden instincts, social and cultural influences, technological advances, and psychological factors, as well as economic incentives, have created an instant desire for feedback loops, whereby even platforms in social media and online gaming using algorithms and other systems provide instant feedback or desire or need to see something already on your social media, and then there are rewards like the shares, the points, and as well as these artificial social connections that seeks to destroy ourselves and also to destroy our needs by building new needs, online interactions, as well as using the unseen waves that comes from our understanding of the waters of Nyunyu, where we know the gods and the evil gods derive and came from. Let us also consider information overload. the overwhelming amount of information available today in this digital age, which leads to challenges, which leads to problems and difficulties, which leads to the lowering of our capacity to use our brains in terms of making decisions, in terms of our memories. If you want to test yourself today on this issue, just write down 10 phone numbers from memory. Just do that. Try to do that. Then you realize that information overload that we think of is actually misinformation and has an impact in our critical thinking and low productivity, short-term memory spans, and a lack of self-confidence. It's actually infobesity. It's causing us to desire brief as well as exciting news, no longer engaging in our brain and long-term memories. There is a deliberate drive to neutralize who we are in terms of our identity, the erosion of personal privacy, the erosion of natural identity, the implications for surveillance, the implications for data security, the ethical considerations regarding personal information in this digital age has meant that we are no longer having our own Ubuntu, Maati, Bantu identity, which is our power. So the distraction is destroying and removing our own identity in terms of race and becoming a common people. There are other ethical dilemmas that scientists face, other ethical dilemmas that we face in use of technology. These ethical dilemmas in areas and the fields and studies have brought about certain forces to bear and to come and manifest within us through genetic engineering, artificial intelligence, biotechnology, which poses questions about human enhancement versus human destruction and versus what is natural. The boundaries have been removed and the ethical positions that industry wants and that we feel we should have has been blurred and removed. But the problems are plenty. There is a lot of issues that we need to look into. Cultural homogenization, which means the globalization of culture and the spread of one specific set of values, Western values, via the media, the consumer product, which lead to concerns in us about the destruction of our humanity, the destruction of being a human, coming through so-called cultural diversity, destruction of even identity preservation, coming through cultural imperialism, whereby we forget that there is no salvation outside of our culture. The environmental crisis created by our technology, so-called good technology, which has got good and evil, means that there are unprecedented challenges posed by what we have done in terms of climate change, pollution, environmental degradation, highlighting the need for sustainable development and global cooperation away from this destructive technology that is enumered and become part and parcel of our life today, leading to human destruction and our demise. When you look at social media and mental health, which we have already looked into in other aspects today, the impact of social media on mental health, including issues of addiction, anxiety, depression, mental health, and many other commodification of personal experiences and the relationship, is a challenge that will eventually force us to become combined in transhumanistic tendencies with machines in order of us to cope. And we want to consider the impending nuclear war, the Third World War, which is already underway, as an era in which we are assured without any fear or doubt of the end of humanity, which is imminent. The modern technology that we have had, led by the military industrial complex and the military armaments, as well as the technology behind it and the forces behind that, means that we are directly going to annihilate every living entity on earth. this existential question means that we have failed to understand the meaning, the purpose, and the condition of life, of human life, as the stakes have been raised high by technology and high-tech war already underway in the Third World War that is occurring today now, implying that the death of every human being is imminent and is set to occur no matter. When you look at religion and when you look at spirituality, it is clear that religion and spirituality has been used to harm and to increase the end or the blindness to the end of humanity in many ways, more than one. In one direct way, it is religion and spirituality that has introjected into every human being an entity in the guise of spirituality, or a spirit, that you should receive a spirit via a specific religion, whereas already you have an inborn self-natural divine consciousness that only needs to be awakened and to be developed fully. So by following religion, it means you are easy to be exploited. It's easy to be controlled by even non-human entities that are using human leaders to exploit you via religious or spiritual beliefs, eventually manipulating and controlling you via distraction or the suppression of your divine spark, and then getting energy from that divine spark, and at the end leading to your destruction and the control. These challenges that we are looking at provoke reflection in the direction of human progress. The balance between technological advancement and the ethical considerations, and the preservation of human natural dignity as well as the well-being, comes up against the forces that are manipulating change in this world, and the end is near. So what can you do? Do you understand that you have a consciousness who has manipulated you to ignore the existence that precedes essence? It is important that the first step that you need to take should be to acknowledge the spiritual implications of the concept of human souls now living in a simulation or an illusion, as perceived by our ancient sages, which raises profound questions about existence, consciousness, and the nature of reality. The illusion that we have to understand is to see this world, including our bodies, including the physical universe, as often projected and taught by our ancestors as an illusion or a creation of lower imperfect deities, Tauri or Mazangaradzim or Amazim, where our souls, our divine sparks, in contrast to them, belongs to a higher spiritual realm or divine origin or Nikanzimu. We need to put in place, therefore, the issue of our true essence that transcends any simulation or illusion, by embracing and celebrating our own culture, using our own languages, knowing our totems, and going beyond all these other cultural practices, languages, identities, spiritualities that fail to foster the sense of our own identity. And that when we know that beyond this cosmos, that beyond infinity, we face a challenge that rises through understanding personal sovereignty in the face of this apocalypse and ongoing catastrophe, we must practice active survivalism with a consciousness that goes beyond. This is a serious matter because you need to learn more. You need to enroll, to absorb, and to continue to rediscover yourself. If you want to learn more and if you want to discover more, subscribe to this channel, leave a comment, send us an email on join@marifado.com. In our 14 video module training known as Bantu Foundations, where you start to build up how you can relive divine ancestral wisdom in Afro salvation, the biggest tree lesson you can ever learn. Tatenda siyabonga. Thank you. Asante sana. Your manager to be preacher Rabbi LM to be Mjakanja says yes, we can stem the tide of our destruction through personal sovereignty. Amen.